choosing this channel, and kindly subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel. Comment and feel free to reach out in case you have any feedback for us. So today I'd like us to look at an area that I feel there's a gap in the employment laws in Kenya. And the issue that I like us to look at today is the stillbirth, or a staff that is intending to go for the leave. Unfortunately, the kid dies either during delivery or even before. Maybe, for instance, it normally happens for the female staff, like they're in the 7th month. Then when they want to go for the maternity leave, that's the point you find that the unfortunate thing happens to them. Then you find that the baby is no longer there. So the question is, are they supposed to go for the maternity leave? The same also applies for the male employees. For instance, when they have already signed for the paternity leave, then they want to proceed for the paternity leave, then the baby is no longer there. As an HR, always you'll need that notification. So those kind of cases whereby the child is not there, the child has been born immaturely, then unfortunately it dies. So that's the point that I like us to look at it. Should we cancel the leave, the leave that this staff had already applied for? Maybe for the female staff, the maternity leave, then for the male, the paternity leave. Can we cancel? So that's a gray area that I like us to look at today. So maternity leave, every female employee, on their 9th month of pregnancy, they're supposed to notify the employer by giving a notice of at least 7 days. So that's the way they can be entitled for the 90 consecutive days as maternity leave. So during this time, we expect the employee to have bonding with the child, and that's what the law has also provided for us. But as much as the 90 days are there, we have good employers who are actually taking care of the employees. So you'll find that on top of the 3 months, consecutive month, they also give additional leave to the employees. So let's look at, first of all, so according to Section 29 of the Employment Act of 2007, it prescribes for 3-month maternity leave and provides for the conditions to be fulfilled, and is silent on the areas of stillbirth. So this leaves the supervisors and the individual managers and companies and organizations to decide on which route to go. So you'll find that they have to decide on the policies, and they have to create their own policies so that this can be followed by all the employees in the organization. Whether the decision has to be considered, there's that emotional aspect whereby you see here there's a colleague, there's an employee who has been expecting a child for 9 months, and the baby that was expected has just died during birth or after birth. So this poses a difficult moment for them, and this calls for emotional and psychological trauma that has to be considered when deciding on these two cases, both the maternity and the paternity for the employees. So there are two sides of these scenarios. So one of it is that we have an employee who has lawfully or legally applied for the leave and it has been approved. He wanted to proceed on maternity or paternity leave, but the child is not there. So the question is, can we be able to recall this staff back? In all fairness, it could be right to let the employee proceed for the leave, though it's my personal opinion. Maternity leave is deemed legally when applied in the manner prescribed in Section 29 of the Employment Act of 2007. According to this section, a female employee shall only be entitled to the rights associated with maternity leave if he gives at least a 7 days notice in writing of our intention to proceed on maternity leave on a specific and return to work thereafter. Those rights also involve the enjoyment of 3 months full paid leave, and the right to return to work, to a role or to the job that she was doing, or even a better position when the leaves ends. The process for qualifying the maternity leave will involve the employer asking the employee to produce a birth notification, or a proof that she'd be going for maternity leave. Probably, maybe you might need the clinic book that shows the expected date of delivery, so that you can be able to determine when the staff need to proceed for the leave. It meant to confirm that the employee is due for the leave. So once that justification or the proof has been given by the employee that she'll be going for the leave, so it's confirmed that this employee is due for the leave, and the beginning of the leave is reasonable close to the expected date of delivery. So there are some of the temptations that you have to figure out, and you have to make a decision as an employer or as an HR. Once these conditions are satisfied and the employee is granted a maternity leave as prescribed by law, it becomes complicated to try to call these staffs back, because they already applied for the leave, so they have already proceeded for the leave, they have gone for the leave. Unfortunately, it has happened that the baby is not there, and they were legally on leave, in fact a paid leave. So the purpose for the leave has been granted is no longer existing. Remember, they had applied for the maternity leave, they wanted to go and have some attachment to the child for the next 3 months. The child is not there, so the purpose of that maternity leave does not exist. Therefore, returning to work sooner could have been maybe better, but again, it's a temptation. Remember, here an alternative could be to so the best thing that you have to do as an employer or as an HR is try to negotiate with employees. Due to the respect should be given to the wishes of the employees. So you have to consider the wish of the employee, what they're preferring to go to. If they're willing to come back to work, well enough. But if they're not willing, just give them time to process whatever that the loss they have undergone. It is one of those situations where the employee needs to exercise compassion. So as an employee, you have to have some compassion, and in that case, the employer or the HR has to develop a policy that try to anticipate those kind of scenarios, which sometimes do happen, though they are unfortunate, but they can happen. In fact, some women or employees will prefer to stay at home for the 3 months, just to make sure that they are processing the loss that they have incurred. Some will also decide, let me go back to work, so they just volunteer and proceed on and report to work. Others may even prefer maybe to go for a vacation, to go and meditate and also accept the loss. My general advice is, since the law does not give the direction on the matter of stillbirth, it is upon every employer, every company, every HR to come up with a policy that try to look at those two scenarios. First scenario, you have to look at the legal aspect. you have to also be compassionate for the employee. Remember, this is your employee, has been working for you for a while, so you have to be supportive. And grief is not a good thing. So as an employer, you have to develop a policy ahead of time so that you can be able to balance the two. So in most cases, you find that we have some employers who may even prefer to have, like, though the law says this, they are preferring to have an alternative policy within the organization. Like, most organizations will have maybe the duty of care, which try to look at those case by case scenarios whereby the law provide for this, but they can also cater for those kind of gaps that are not being catered for in the employment law. So thank you very much. So the same application, the one that you're looking for the female staff who are entitled to maternity leave, that so during this time that you're developing this policy, that will look at that gray area of maternity leave, to be precise, stillbirth. So the same application that you develop will also applies to paternity leave. So that at the end of the day, when you're looking at the organization policy on stillbirth, it's cutting across both for the female and the male employees. So thank you very much for watching my channel. Feel free to subscribe to that channel so that I can continue giving you more insight. Kindly subscribe. Feel free to give a thumbs up, comment, give a suggestion, and we'll be able to make sure that we give you more information that is related to employment in Kenya. Thank you.